Social media focuses a new item that shows India has surpassed China in terms of population size. Hence, India is the most populous nation on earth. Geographical area of China is about 10 million square kilometers compared to India's 3.3 million square kilometers. This implies, in terms of density of population as well, India is way ahead of China. Whether population size and density of population are advantageous or liability has been a subject of fierce debate during the decades of 60s and 70s. Under the auspices of Western demography, Indian government considered rising population as a serious impediment towards national development and prosperity. Hence, the government took various measures in 60s to control population growth when India's population size was 450 million, which, as can be seen today, has nearly tripled. Chairman Mao Zedong, founder of the People's Republic of China, on the other hand, was explicit in his stand on population growth. He declared that population or human resources are the most valuable asset of any given nation. Human beings not only have a mouth to feed, but also have two hands to produce food, implying whether population is a liability or an asset largely depends on the leadership under which the population is exposed to. As expected, Chinese view on population was harshly criticized by Anglo-American West. As usual, being motivated by profiteering, Western multinationals mobilized capital to produce all conceivable birth control devices and engaged resources of church to educate people of underdeveloped countries to produce fewer children. Anglo-American West aggressively preached and developed various theories to prove underdevelopment is directly proportional to population growth. Western sociologists wasted no time establishing such observation with 6 inches long mathematical equations and terminologies and breeding numerous doctorates on this subject. Closer look at the quality of life in China today explains the worth of Western stance on population growth. A major contributing factor of this growth and development of China is undoubtedly their political leadership, a fact which West is working overtime to disprove with the help of their free press. The day victorious Mao Zedong, after defeating his adversary Chiang Kai-shek, the Western ally, proclaimed China as the People's Republic in October 1949, Anglo-American West instantly realized the effect of his leadership on transformation of China and its effect on the inevitable rise of Chinese people. US didn't waste any time to mobilize its military machine to launch a conflict at the Korean Peninsula, provoking China. Explicit, undisclosed purpose was to prevent the effect of Mao's leadership on the rise of Chinese people. For all practical purposes, US was thoroughly defeated by China even at the stage when China was weak. Subsequently, US President of that time, Mr. Harry Truman, reprimanded their ally Chiang Kai-shek by stating it was because of him USA lost China. Significance of this figure of speech, lost China, is still being debated in the circle of Western sociologists and political scientists. USA and the West quickly grasped the significance of leadership at the very outset. In contrast, India gained freedom in 1947 under the leadership of Nehru in a ceremonial transfer of power presided by the British Viceroy, who represented 2 centuries of theft and loot of Indian people, and in 1944, India suffered a devastating famine that starved 5 million East Indians to death. To the West, India became the largest democracy simply because 60 to 70% analphabet people living below poverty line are given the right to cast vote once in 5 years to elect politicians in public offices. Every other of these politicians having criminal records, and every third one is semi-illiterate. Nearly 75 years after the Second World War, China is emerging as world's largest democracy with a record of lifting 800 million people from poverty to the status of middle class, a disciplined workforce, health care of international standard, indigenous Mandarin-based schooling that has boosted a technological development far beyond the reach of Anglo-American West. All these in a matter of one lifetime, which took West 2 to 3 centuries. The whole world recognizes these unprecedented economic, social, and political accomplishments of China as achievements of her political leadership. India, on the other hand, is being increasingly recognized for her population size, which is now world's largest. Most economic, social, and political accomplishments of India remain confined within the circle of 125 million Anglophonic class out of a population of 1,450 million, whose loyalty is more towards Anglo-American West. According to official report, India's political leadership is characterized by criminals and semi-illiterates elected in the parliament. This news item prompted German magazine Der Spiegel to come out with a cartoon mocking India over its rising population. The cartoon shows a train overloaded with people, with many sitting atop the roof of the train and holding an Indian flag. A Chinese bullet train is seen speeding on a parallel track, indicating economic disparity between the two countries. Whatever might have been the motive behind the German cartoon, it led a huge social media uproar with Indians labeling it of being racist. Genuine respect and prestige are never given, but has to be earned. As explained before, of the 1.4 billion people of India, estimated 125 million can express their thoughts in English. Visible fruit of socio-economic development remains confined within this 125 million. What are the conditions of the billion plus Indians? Their role is to pay 30 to 35 different taxes, cast a vote every 5 years, and work as menials, including lowest-ranking soldiers in the army or police, to protect the criminal and semi-illiterate elected politicians. They do not even exist in the thoughts and decisions of lawmakers warming up chairs of public offices. It's an undeniable fact that development and prosperity of a nation is to a large extent depends on the quality of its human resource, which in turn is shaped through right kind of schooling. All developed countries all over the world have structured their schools to shape human resources compatible with their indigenous language, literature, history, tradition, and culture. They have adopted the age-old doctrine that you can't pretend to be anything else but what you actually are. It might be relevant to mention an observation of Albert Speer, the German Minister of Armament under Hitler. At the beginning of last war in 1942, Germany occupied Ukraine for some time. The minister wrote in his memoir, he drove around the industrial center of Dnepropetrovsk. It's a town. He comments, what most impressed me was a university complex under construction. Its facilities went far beyond anything in Germany and left no doubt of the Soviet Union's determination to become a technical power of the first rank. India's entire operation, with special reference to education system, is conducted in the English language of colonial masters. language of 5% Indians. When 95% people of a country is marginalized, inevitable result of such governance is mismanagement, chaos, corruption, poverty, and underdevelopment. Signature of underdeveloped thought process becomes widespread, far and deep. Germany, or Anglo-American West for that matter, is no friend of China. Like it or not, are forced to accept China's achievement as a society who is immensely powerful yet harmless. Such an example must at all times earn respect, however grudging that may be. This is exactly how China is looked upon in the world. Beneath all the praise of India as the largest democracy and natural ally, Anglo-American West look at India the way is reflected in the cartoon. Reaction of the West following India's space exploration was expressed in this cartoon of New York Times. Kanchan Gupta, senior advisor to Information and Broadcasting Ministry, called the German cartoon outrageously racist. And it is a racist cartoon indeed, because this is exactly how the world with special reference to the Anglo-American West look at India as appendage of the West. The government official also asserted that India has no resemblance to the caricature version shown in the cartoon. Really? What do those photos of facilities for the marginalized billion, be it school, hospital, transportation, or government office, signify? How any sane mind can have respect for a society or government where public facilities look the way they are? Presence of even one single school of this kind in any country tells something about the condition of public education. Of course, there are five-star schools in India. Management of those schools proudly announce how their students make way to Ivy League schools of USA. This says far more about the quality of its political leadership. Public transportation facilities for non-Anglophonic Indians, whose number is over 1,200 million, 1,200 million. This is not bullet train. Public hospitals of India. Of course, there are five-star hospitals for hospital tourism. Anglophonic Indians, who are 5% of the population, these are ground reality. This says a great deal about the quality of India's political leadership. This also explains how the Anglo-American West really view India, Indians, and our leadership as reflected in the racist cartoon. Doesn't matter, India will still be trumpeted as a natural ally and largest democracy and get some importance in international politics. West's hidden agenda is access to our human and natural resources. Modi minister Chandrasekhar threatened it is not smart thing to bet against India under Prime Minister Modi. At least this government responding so sharply to such derogatory, racistic cartoon is showing sense of self-respect, which was distinctly absent in any government quarters in the past governments. Following publication of this cartoon, it is reported that Modi minister gives savage reply over racist cartoon. Such emotional outburst doesn't have any bearing in international politics. Similar was the way West used to see and treat China and Chinese. Anglo-American media used to brand Chinese and China as yellow devil and barbarians. And until Nixon's visit to China back in 1972, China in West Europe was pictured by their free press as a land of famine, poverty, and oppression. This line of reporting suddenly vanished just not few weeks, but few days after the conclusion of Nixon's visit. No question asked from any quarter. From then onwards, China became a developing country whom West was supplying with aids and technical help. Indian government officials and few nationalist media educated the cartoonist with the fact that India's economy is to overtake Germany's in few years. Whatever Germany is, it is the qualitative transformation of human resources of Germany. So it is China and their superior quality leadership. Fact remains, even if India's GDP grows multiple times, quality of its human resource will still remain the same, meaning strongly resembling Indians of Guyana and Trinidad, French of Senegal and Ivory Coast, who will be looked upon as appendage of the West, and members who are aping everything from Anglo-American West are contemptible clowns. Instead of hurling curses as a reaction to racistic cartoon, let independent media launch a warfare to make grassroots people of India understand that a brilliant human resource of 1.4 billion is being governed by extremely low quality leadership, of whom every second one has criminal record and every third one is semi-illiterate. If you like what you see and hear, please subscribe and ring the bell.